Welcome to the Friends of Feedy's podcast, brought to you by Feed Canada, our funding partner, ISED, and founding partner, the Saskatchewan Food Centre. This show is all about celebrating the incredible journeys of female entrepreneurs in the agri-food and food manufacturing sector. We're here to dish out the secrets of success and serve up a side of inspiration along the way. We are the Feed program where dreams are made, businesses are born, and the agri-food world is your oyster. Let's dine together.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Friends of Feedy's podcast. Today I have Danielle Genest joining me from Skip a Beat. Hi, Danielle. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Great. Glad to hear it. So can you just give everyone a little bit of a background into your business if they're not familiar with Skip a Beat?
Sure. So Skip a Beat is a meal delivery service. We offer a variety of fresh and frozen provisions that we have available for pickup and delivery every Monday. We have some satellite grab and go freezers in PA and Elbow and Moose Jaw. Also in Saskatoon for our off hours. And then we've recently opened Prairie Market, where you can walk in Monday to Friday and shop our provisions, and some of the items in the market are other amazing locally produced products.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm familiar with your business, but actually Prairie Market is news to me. Is this like a new piece that's been added on?
Yeah, so we were operating a ghost kitchen and supporting other chefs to kind of get going in our old space. And one of the chefs is Ron Carson, and he is not a new chef and did not need a lot of mentorship from me. He was with Domino's for about 20 years, and then he was operating Carson's Barbecue Smokehouse on Central Ave, and that just sort of hit a wall during the pandemic, as you know, sadly we lost so many other restaurants. And so I got in touch with Ron, as my sister used to work there, and so she recommended he come and use kitchen space to do some pop-ups and provisions and stuff. And our values are super aligned, and we decided to get into a bigger space. So now Ron's doing lunch service every day from 10 to 3, doing barbecue smoked sandwiches and homemade barbecue sauces, homemade pickles, homemade buns, just like really fabulous lunch food. And I'm running the market 10 to 5 Monday to Friday, and then still doing all of the provisions and delivery that we were already doing. And then both of us are also doing catering, and we've expanded our commissary kitchen. We have 7 chef stations, and we've added a bunch of equipment, and so we're trying to figure out even more opportunities for mentoring people to start their business and get into the culinary arts.
It's amazing. I definitely don't need an excuse to get down there. You sold me. I'm really excited. I need to come stop by.
Come eat a burger.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to even just take a little step back before we get too deep into things. Can you just tell me a little bit of about what kind of got you started? Was there like any sort of inspiration that got you going down this path?
Gosh, there's so many sources of inspiration for me, and life is funny like that. You know, you could just sort of gather things along the way that create this amazing adventure. So like my grandma owned a cafe, and served sort of, you know, from scratch grandma food for forever and ever. And I didn't spend a lot of time in the cafe, you know, because I was little. And a lot of that was before I was born, but I spent a lot of time tangled in my grandma's apron strings and learning how to make fresh bread and cinnamon buns and gravy. And my dad actually doesn't do a ton of cooking, but he's a really amazing cook. And you know, I worked in a Pizza Hut, and I worked in a Tim Hortons, and I worked in an A&W, and you pick little things up here and there. And I worked at the Samurai as well, which was a fascinating place to work. And once I was in university, and I was studying sort of medical systems and community health, I started working at Switch, which is the student-run clinic in Saskatoon. And I started in there as their nutrition supervisor and their program coordinator. And so a lot of the things that we were doing in programs were preventative wellness and community wellness. And then, of course, in the nutrition supervisor piece, I was learning how to cook really densely nutritious meals that were fairly quick and cost effective. And a lot of the people that we were serving in the clinic, that might have been their only meal for the day. So we were working with a really small budget and students that might not have a lot of culinary skill, and working to feed our patients and provide programming for ongoing wellness as well as the acute healthcare. And so I think I sort of tuned up a lot of my cooking skills and my nutrition knowledge in that time period. And then I went on to do some other nonprofit and epidemiology work, and just sort of ended up right back at food. So there's lots of amazing inspiration, but for me, it's just like Saskatchewan is so inspiring on its own. And learning about permaculture and like trying to integrate those practices into my business and understand, like, looking at the business from what are the pinch points, like, where am I struggling, what's too expensive, what's taking too long, and instead of shortcutting it, I don't want to go to a bunch of value added products coming in off of a truck. I want to keep this Saskatchewan grown, Saskatchewan produced, made from scratch. I want to understand all the processes and all the ingredients, but I don't want to fight against things that are not working. And so really taking those permaculture practices and Saskatchewan's agricultural practices and bringing them into the kitchen and trying to understand how to work with the problem and how to make things kind of grow together. And so a lot of the chef mentorship pieces that I mentioned before are really integrated into the food and the sustainability of our products. There are things that I don't have time to make barbecue sauce from scratch, but Ron makes barbecue sauce from scratch. So I want to use his product because I see him make it. It's made in our kitchen. It's accessible to me. I know what the ingredients are. I've seen him core the apples to make the apple butter, to make the apple butter barbecue sauce. And I've watched him make the apple cider vinegar out of those cores afterward. And, and then things be composted from there. And I know that there's no waste happening in these products. I could buy it bottleless because it's made in my kitchen. I can take it right out of a bucket. So all of these things, I think we're taught to compete, and I think chefs by nature are quite type A and quite competitive, and I just want to break that mold. I want to get into the food industry where we are growing together, and if you think about like a Three Sisters garden, you have your corn and your squash and your peas, and they all support each other and they all grow better together. They're not competing for soil space. They're not competing for nutrients. They're not competing for sun. They're all bringing something to the soil that the other needs. And the peas can grow up the corn. And it's a really beautiful thing. And Ron and I are a great example of that. And, he's just amazing on social media, and his following just loves him so much. And honestly, I'm not very good at selling myself. I'm not very good at saying, this soup is great, you should come eat it. But Ron's really great at saying, you got to come in and try this burger. It's stuffed with cheese. And then people are coming in and buying my product while they're here. And for me, that, I've got a 7-year following of people who are used to delivery service. They're so excited that they can come in and talk to me. That there's this storefront they can come in and look through the freezer, and that we have space to bring on other people's products and stuff. So, we don't want to work against each other, and we're already seeing, we just moved into our new space for April 1, and we're already just seeing both of our businesses expand and grow because of the support of the other. So I think that's like my biggest inspiration is just like community and permaculture and that sort of mutual aid.
Amazing. Yeah, sounds like just kind of like the definition of kind of a symbiotic relationship right there, where it's
Yes.
bringing things to each other. All right. So one more question, kind of about the getting started sort of piece, and then I definitely want to dive more into some of the more specifics around what you're currently doing.
Sure.
But yeah, how did you get from kind of this person with some food background and stuff to deciding to start Skip a Beat and like launching the service and just like kind of the birth of it, so to speak.
So I was the director of HR, which was 8 Saskatoon at the time, which it was just amazing, just incredible work, and I loved it so, so much. And I had gone on maternity leave with full intentions of coming back, and my son just was not ready. Needed a lot more home support. My son is autistic and did not thrive in any sort of childcare environment, and so I opted not to return to my position. And sort of at the end of my maternity leave, one of my good friends had started medical school, and she was like, you know what, we work together at clinic, I know you're a good cook, whatever. Can you just like pack me up leftovers of whatever you're eating, and I will pay you for them? Yeah, sure, bring me some containers, I can do that. So then she's taking all of this food. She was a nurse at the time working in the emergency room. And so then I got this call from an emerge doctor, and he's like, I'm seeing all this food that you're getting your friend, and it looks so beautiful, all these jarred salads, and I really would like you to cook for me. And I said, you know, I'm cooking from home. I'm on maternity leave. I'm not really planning to go back to work. And he said, well, just gouge me. Don't give me a friend price. Give me a doctor price. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. And so he said, well, I'm surviving on coffee and donuts. It's your ethical obligation. My emergency room patients are going to die if you don't feed me. So Chris basically talked me into cooking for a customer and not just like sharing food with my friend. And then that really snowballed, and all of a sudden it was like weeks later, and I was like, I need a kitchen. This is not, I can't do this. I can't cook out of my home for all these people. I have to figure this out. And so I got a business license, and I rented a space in a church kitchen, and I started cooking 2 days a week, just for whoever had pre-ordered, and doing like a 10-meal service for the week. And you got a discount if you took your food in glass and returned it. And so that's sort of how I started out. And I started getting lots of asks for gluten-free. And I started getting lots of asks for freezer provisions. And people were finding, you know, that they can't necessarily get through 10 meals a week prepared for them. Or they maybe don't want that many. So like we were doing the option of 6 or 4 or 10, depending on which days you wanted delivery. And then I had a huge ask for someone needed support through a Whole30 challenge and was sent to me. And so I created a whole freezer lineup of Whole30 meals and had a bunch of people really get excited about that. And so it's just like over the last 7 years, I have just listened and been willing to adjust, and been willing to say no when it's a no, like when I just can't do what you're asking me to do, or when people will call and want a delivery at 10 o'clock at night on Thursday. Just no, like, that's not why I started my business. We do all of our deliveries at the same time. We try and keep it sustainable. I'm home with kids. That was the point. So being willing to say no when it was really important, and then being willing to say yes all of the other times. And those times of being able to say no allow me to say yes to almost everything else. And so I had all these people wanting, you know, gluten-free and dairy-free and vegan and Whole30 and paleo. And so I just learned. And I read every book and every recipe book and every website, and listened to podcasts and YouTube videos, and I just learned everything there was to know about all of these different ways of eating and why people choose them. And I think, you know, a lot of people get to this point where they're like, you know, vegan's the way, vegan's the only way, this is the reasons I'm vegan, and this is the only way to eat it. Everyone should eat vegan. And you'll have someone feel the same way about paleo and the same way about gluten-free. And it's like, for me, all of our bodies are different and they all function differently. And if you look at, you know, our food sensitivities and our ancestry and the way that our, you know, the generations of our family have eaten, every body needs something a little bit different.
Amazing. And yeah, it's interesting too, because like obviously vegan is not going to overlap with everything, but there is like, vegan and gluten free can overlap, and like some of those other eating styles. So it is interesting kind of bringing all those kind of philosophies, whether or not like, everyone's got their strong opinion on which is the best way to eat. There's like still a lot of overlap in a lot of what you're doing, I'd assume.
I really like Michael Pollan's words. It's eat good food, not too much, mostly plants. That's very vague, and most people can get behind that is a reasonable way to eat. And so I just look for the best quality and then try to add it in the best flavors. So.
Amazing. And just from talking to you and stuff, I can really tell that like obviously a community focus is like kind of always been really at the core of what you do. So yeah, would you be able to speak a little bit about that? Because I see that huge commitment from you.
I mean, part of it is like in my personal life, being a queer woman and growing up in Saskatchewan is like kind of excruciating. And there's still just like a ton of homophobia, a ton of transphobia that exists here. And I know we're seeing this week like certain political parties not being invited to pride festivals and things because of political policy, and that's really painful to feel like we've come so far in our community and then have our children not be safe at school. That just seems like a fundamental human right for our children to be able to express their name and pronouns, and having our children feel brave enough to do that, and then having the adults in their life tell them they're not allowed. And so I think my focus on community really just comes from my experience as a queer person. And I'm involved in a very large queer community in Saskatchewan, and we are very much a chosen family, and we do a lot of mutual aid. 2 weeks ago, we just held a fundraiser for community support that we did about $3,000 in somebody's living room. We do. I oversee all of it, of course, because why wouldn't I also do that? But we host a lot of events that are safe for queer, trans, and polyamorous people, which just doesn't exist a lot. So we're hosting lots of gatherings, family swim days, parties, whatever, and also doing like microloans and grants and Christmas hampers and all kinds of support. I commented yesterday in a group chat of 100 people that I'm very angry that I'm scooping soup today, and I'm just mad about it. For nothing, not the soup's fault, and I like my job a lot, but I just was really mad that I was scooping the soup, and someone just showed up to help me for the end of the day, wash dishes and whatever, and it was like I can't believe you're here. And she's like, come on, like, how many times have you shown up for me? How many times have you come and picked me up? How many times have you, bought me groceries or sent me food when I was sad or whatever? And it's like this idea that we're just not alone, but we all feel so alone. We're all in our little houses trying to, raise our kids and pay our bills and wash our dishes and vacuum our floors and cook our food. And it's like, well, what if we didn't have to do that by ourselves? So like my two closest friends and I, like we have a cleaning co-op, and every Monday it's a rotation of whose house gets cleaned. We'll have some drinks and we talk shit and we fold laundry and mop floor and clean toilets, and it's like, well, we could go out to a pub and get wings and drink wine or whatever, but I could come over to your house and drink cheap wine, and your laundry gets done and it's quiet and we're focused on each other, and I'm in my pajamas, and it's so rejuvenating to the mental health.
I was just kind of curious if you could tell us a little bit about your experience with the feed program, or possibly it was the awesome program when you went through. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was both, right, feed and awesome accelerator cohort 5.
Okay, yeah.
So I just went through that in the fall, um, and I can't even remember. I think maybe one of my vendors sent me the link. I never heard of this program, didn't know what you were doing, and man, there's amazing stuff going on at Feed, and what a wealth of knowledge. And so I got this application, and I looked, and it was like female entrepreneurs in agri-food development. Like, that's me. And it was like priority given to minority women, and I was like, that's also me. And how amazing. And so I applied and interviewed, and I was like, oh man, like, I don't know. This must be so competitive. Like, what an amazing program. And when I was offered a seat, I was just so excited. And I didn't have any idea the resources that I was actually being awarded with that spot. And so um, having a commercial made, I'm like, oh, I wish my commercial was in my new kitchen because it's so beautiful. But Aspen Films did a commercial for us that's just so incredible. And I feel like they really captured um, what we're doing and what the family feel is. Um, and that inspiration, even though I'm not a very camera ready person. Um, he was so great to work with, but we did these night classes every week, and I got connected to this group of amazing women, and once again, it was like, I'm cheering them on. I'm not competing with them. And every day when I hop on my social media and I see Lady Di Snackers, I'm like, yeah, just crush it. Like, make those pretzels, girl. And I see Susan Saskatoon's and expanding her product line and getting comfortable with her social media from the beginning of the feed program to now. It's like, it's so incredible. She's so inspiring. She gets on and does these great videos, and she's so herself. And it makes me just want to buy her product. And just like every single woman in this accelerated cohort was creating unbelievable food, and they all brought different strengths. Like, some of these people were in so many stores already, and some of them have amazing social media, and like, some of them have awesome direct sales, or the Bloom Nutrition, their product is so amazing that people banging down their door for it, and they can't figure out how to make it fast enough. And like, bringing all those different strengths to the table, and bringing all of us women, and realizing that we're all underselling ourselves, and all of us feel inadequate, and all of us feel like we're not amazing, and we're just generic. And to hear these women think that their product is mediocre or their business isn't special, when all I could think was, how special is this plant-powered jerky? That's so special. Look at her product. Who is making plant-based jerky that's high protein? That's so sustainable. Everything about it is sustainable. And we all need more protein. And plant-based people need way more protein. And what an incredible product. And like, I wanted to raise all of them up. I don't have the ability to do it, but like, maybe a little bit now that we've opened this market. And it pushed me really hard. I was exhausted. I basically did not see the light of day between work and catering and family and this class, because I worked so hard. And it pushed me to just be so much better. I did not expect to be selected in the pitch competition. Like, the women who pitched were just so incredible. And when they announced that I had won the pitch competition, I just was shocked. I was just really struggling with this move from the ghost kitchen into the market space, and running out of days and running out of patience, and was feeling very, very defeated. And I text Kendra at Feed, and I said, hey, do you have a minute? Could use some support. Could I pick the brain? And she phones me on her day off and is like, oh my gosh, I immediately have like 10 ideas, and just start phoning people, emailing people that like, I've got this idea and I've got this idea, I've got this idea. And you know, it's like, it's not like she came in and solved the problem necessarily, but it was just that she believed in me so much that she was willing to phone in all of these people to be like, you need to connect with this person, you need to connect and see what she's doing and see how you guys can work together, and who can I put you in touch with. And you know, she's just opened so many more doors for me. And that kind of support, where this amazing woman who's so accomplished, she's so brilliant, she's so passionate, and to have her be like, what you're doing is amazing and I want to support it, like that, I don't think that you can measure that. And Feed is just filled with brilliant, beautiful, passionate women in the food industry who all want to support other women who are creating food. And like, it's about time. Women have been creating food since the beginning of human beings, and yet there's like, what, 2 Michelin star female chefs? Like, there's just like, it's probably more than 2, but like, it feels like there's 2. And the Red Seal world is predominantly men. It's predominantly white men. You know, when you travel around the world, of course that changes, but here, people who are creating exceptional cuisine, people of color, queer people, trans people, and women, and we're being so underrepresented in the food industry. Women have been the backbones of farming business. You know, men work the fields and have worked the fields, and women are preparing food and bringing it to them, and fielding calls and guiding semi trucks and doing all this stuff. And like, when I've ever asked a farm wife, what do you do? And she'll be like, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm staying home with the kids. I'm like, shut up. You run a multi-million-dollar farm. I know what you do all day. Like, tell me about that. And there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. That's the hardest job in the world. I've done it. It's hard. It's much harder than what I do now. But we all undersell ourselves. Every single woman in that feed program undersold what we were doing and what we were building and how good at our jobs we were, or we are. And to have all of us in a room being supported and being told, like, no, what you're doing is exceptional and interesting, and it deserves spotlight and it deserves attention. And you know, you have a place in the food industry, and just sort of, I'm loving that we're starting to see, you know, generations of women preparing food, turning that into this beautiful, nourishing, you know, mom-made, grandma-made food that you can now buy on a grocery store shelf. Like, that's just almost unheard of. We're so used to, like, McCain's fries. Well, I have this whole dream about rendering our own tallow and cutting our own potatoes and using Ron's Texas dust and making freezer bags of fries in-house that people can then take home and either bake or air fry or whatever. And I don't know, a real Saskatchewan potato with local beef tallow made in-house, like, that is not going to taste like your average freezer fry. And I want to see alternatives to everything and have it be affordable. Like, nobody can pay $25 for a bag of fries. Like, we can't do it. So how do we do that in a way that's efficient? Well, you know, we're going to give all of our fat offcuts of beef and make a big batch of tallow. That's not costing us extra. That's just not throwing something out. You know, the time, the electricity, that costs money, but you know, having our Brody folks come in with potatoes and having us have access to pallets of potatoes, growing our own potatoes this summer. Those are all ways that we can access these things and make really high quality fresh fries that are nutritious and local and cost effective. And that's beautiful. And I've seen generations of women make beautiful fries for years and years and years, and no one's ever thought, well, my fries are good enough to be at your Loblaw store. And so what Feed is doing is so much bringing that food and that connection to family and community and home cooked meals, nourishing food that's made with love and passion. And it's not made for efficiency. It's not made to cut corners and be the cheapest mass produced thing in the world. It's a beautiful women produced product. And they're bringing that into the spotlight. And it's women supporting women. And the food industry is like maybe not even ready for that. But I think there's such a huge space for that here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that it was like such a great experience for you. And I've got to say that we still show your video to people in our cohort, our success story video that we're sharing with people. So that's like it's such so cool.
Oh gosh, that's embarrassing. Well, now you can tell them that since we've gone out to expand it up to the market.
Yes, absolutely. That's amazing. And you never know in the future, like, we're doing different types of accelerators, cohorts, that sort of thing. So maybe at some point there'll be something that'll make sense for you again in the future. Get that update video, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'm sure you're coming across people who need the kind of boots on the ground support that we're able to offer in our space too, and people's products that we would want to sell in our market. And so, we want to support other local women for sure. Send them over. And especially like people of color and queer people, non-binary people whose voices are silenced all the time. I really want our market to speak loudly about the beauty that's prepared by people who don't have a voice, and give that voice back to the community and let their products shine, and support people to grow from like, I can make 9 loaves of bread in a week to like, I can make 36 loaves of bread in a day, and have more time for myself and my family, and create a better quality product because this is a better oven than I have at home. And we really want to see that. So I think there's a lot of space for Prairie Market and the feed program to work together in terms of supporting new people coming onto the scene and getting their products out there. And even just like while I was in the midst of the feed program, I pitched to an independent store, and they were happy to bring all my products. And I was able to come to the group and say, like, how do I get the right barcode? It's like, I felt so stupid. I've been making food forever, and I'm like, how do I get a barcode? So then someone was able to talk me through, using GS1 and what you got to do. And then it was so easy. But if I had to figure that out on my own, like, and every single person coming into this industry is having to figure out everything on their own. And like, why? What a waste of time when they could be like a culinary artist and they're just trying to figure out a public health license or how to order packaging or whatever. I'm like, get in here, make this food. We'll do the rest. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing to see, and there is, I think a lot of people, if you're not in the food industry, don't really realize how many barriers there actually are, because you don't have to sit and think about all the safety things, all these pieces that go into it. So yeah, it may feel silly at the time not knowing how to make that, but if you've never done it before, it's not a common thing. Like, most people wouldn't know how to make a barcode that you could bring to a grocery store. So yeah, it's just so inspiring to hear how helpful it was, and I completely agree. I'm gonna start messaging Nafisa and Kendra right away and be like, I think we need a group outing to come visit you, is I think what the next step needs to be.
Oh, I would love that field trip.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention it to them. I'm sure they'd be open to it. And I so appreciate you taking the time. So thank you so much. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be able to share this episode with everyone.
Awesome. Well, come visit me soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you to our listeners for indulging your entrepreneurial appetite with this episode of Friends of Feedies, brought to you by Feed Canada, our funding partner ISET, and founding partner, the Saskatchewan Food Centre. If anything we have discussed today has ignited an entrepreneurial fire within you, but you're not quite sure how to get started, or you're craving mentorship and coaching to help grow your business, please reach out to us at feed.ca. That's FEAD.ca. Connect with us on social media. We're sprinkled all over the digital landscape, and our team is ready to provide the mentorship and coaching you need to flourish. At Feed, we're here to empower women in the agri-food industry, so don't hesitate to reach out to us to join our vibrant community of foodpreneurs. Until next time, bake those dreams into reality, stay hungry for success, and continue to nourish your entrepreneurial spirit with Feed. Bon appetit.